Okay, now it's the time to understand how we can build a question answering solution. After completing this module, you will be able to describe the question answering capabilities of Azure AI Language. You'll be also able to describe the difference between question answering and conversational language understanding, because both are very important to understand. We will create a knowledge base from which we can ask question and it's going to give answer from the knowledge base. And then we can also implement a multi-turn conversation, which is based on conversational language model. We will test and publish a knowledge base so that we can reuse it. And then we are also going to consume a published knowledge base so that we can develop applications with that. And finally, we'll implement active learning using this kind of techniques. Okay, now let's understand what is a question answering model and then how we can use the knowledge base to get the proper answer from that. Now, first of all, knowledge base of questions and answer pair with natural language understanding will be stored in this. Technically, you can think like it's a database where you have multiple questions and answers which are stored. Then you're going to have a published REST-based endpoint for your applications to consume that knowledge base. When you develop your client-side applications, you'll make a request to that knowledge base which will try to find answers based on the questions which are provided as an input. And of course, this is also available to you through a specific SDK. Now, when you're dealing with this, how you create a knowledge base? That's the first question which you should ask to yourself. And the answer is, when you're dealing with this, we are going to create knowledge base with multiple ways. But even before we see how we can create a knowledge base, we need to understand how this knowledge base based question answering thing and language understanding, how these two are different. Let's understand this first. If you see the left side one, which is a question answering, is the place where you're going to submit a question as a user, and then you can expect a proper answer from that. In this case, the answers are going to be given by the service, which use natural language understanding to match the question to a specific answer in the knowledge base. The response is going to be nothing but a static answer to a known question. And then your client application is going to present the answer to the end user, whoever has asked the question. This is a simple mechanism which is followed by most of the chatbots. On the other hand, we have a language understanding in which users submit an utterance, expecting an appropriate response or action. Now, the utterance is nothing but the statement which user is going to speak or write. And then based on that input, we are expecting an appropriate response or maybe some kind of an action. Services are going to use a natural language understanding to interpret the utterance and then is going to match it to a specific intent. And then there are chances that with that intent, there are some entities which are associated with that, so it's going to identify the entities also. If you're not able to understand these things right now, just wait for some time. I'm going to show you this with example and then you will understand that. Finally, the responses are going to indicate the most likely the intent and the reference entities which are associated with that. And then the client application is responsible for performing appropriate action based on the detected intent. In other words, language understanding is focusing on understanding the user's intent, not on giving the proper answer based on that. In this case, once your intent of the user is identified, once it is detected, the appropriate action is something which we have to do inside the application when we develop that application. That's not something which is the responsibility of language understanding. Now, because we already know the differences between these two now, it's the time, let's see how we can create a knowledge base, and then we are going to understand these terms like utterances, intent, and identity. Like utterances, intent, and entities. Hey guys, sorry for interruption. My name is Maruti and I'm here to make a very important announcement. I hope you are liking our videos and you're doing a continuous learning with us on an Azure Cloud and AI related topics. If you are enjoying this thing, I'm going to announce skilltech.club, which is our upcoming website, which is going to be launched very soon. We are here to tell you one thing, that everyone who is a subscriber of this particular channel will get Azure Cloud and Azure AI related certification courses free of cost in skilltech.club. So you will be a part of the skilltech.club kind of a membership automatically free of cost. And everyone who's a subscriber of this particular channel will get those benefits which are available in that. So what are you waiting for? I request you to please subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends and families if they are also interested in Azure Cloud and AI learning. That's it from my side. Now you can carry on with your learning. Thank you. Now we are going to discuss how can we create a knowledge base. Now the first thing is, when you are creating a knowledge base, you can use a language studio, which is available as like Azure AI Vision Studio. We have another studio which is a language studio. You can create an Azure AI Language Service resource in your Azure subscription. Then inside the language studio, you have to either select an existing language resource, or you can create a custom question answering project inside that. You can either select your existing language resource inside your language studio, or you can create a new one. Once you have that, you can create a custom question answering project, and then inside that project, you can populate the knowledge base from multiple options. Maybe you have a web page which is available from your organization website, which is nothing but an FAQ web page. From that FAQ web page, once you provide a link of that page, is going to capture all the questions and answers, and then it's going to treat it as a knowledge base. Or maybe you can upload multiple documents and files from where we can provide questions and answers, and then it was going to treat that one as a knowledge base. You can also add some predefined knowledge base question pairs, which is mostly used as chit chat. We can choose how it's going to give an answer, maybe in the professional manner or maybe a very friendly manner. All these are multiple ways by which you can add your set of questions with multiple alternative answers, and that's going to be treated like your knowledge base. And that's how it is there. Not only that, after this, if you want to edit your knowledge base, you want to add some more questions, or you want to edit some answers with your customization, you can do that thing. And that's exactly the same thing which we are going to see when we do the demo and the practical labs associated with this. One more thing which you need to understand is you can convert your conversation into a multi-turn conversation. This is going to help you to add a follow-up prompts to define multi-turn exchanges. Whenever user is going to ask any question, you're not only giving the answer, but you're also giving some alternative multiple options with that, which can turn that conversation into multi-turn. And then you can reference an existing question answer pair, or you can also restrict to a follow-up responses only, so that it can give a specific response, and based on that user can take actions. A best example of that is given here in this particular block. A user is asking a question, how can I cancel a reservation? In the response, the chatbot is responding that cancellation policies depends on the type of reservation. So what kind of reservation you have done? Is it a hotel reservation which you want to cancel, or it's a flight cancellation which you are proceeding with? And then it is giving you that to cancel a flight, you can just call on this number, something like that. And that's the follow-up response which you have given. You can also have a testing and publishing a knowledge base kind of a facility which are available in the language studio. So you can taste this kind of a knowledge base interactively. You have a test space available where you can just treat it like a chatbot. You can ask questions and you're going to get responses based on it. You can also inspect results to see the confidence score, and you can add alternative phrases to improve your score as necessarily depends upon the requirement. Finally, if you're happy with the testing, then you can publish the trained knowledge base. And then once it is published, you can create an HTTP REST-based endpoint for your client application, so that your client application can consume this knowledge base, and then based on that, you can answer that. This published knowledge base can be used with SDKs within your application, and that SDK is also available in the same question answering project itself. How can we create a client application which is going to consume this kind of a question? Now, obviously, we have a REST-based interface or SDK. Two different options are there. When you submit a question to a specific endpoint, your question is going to be there. Like here, we have a question, what do I need to do to cancel a reservation? The same question which we discussed. And then it is showing you that the top two intent are there, score threshold is 20. And then it is actually showing you that we are strictly specifying this filter to a specific category, and that is actually having a value which is API. And once we send this request, the response is actually having a confidence score which is showing us that score, the ID associated with that, the answer which we retrieve from the knowledge base, and then the follow-up questions which is associated with that if it is there inside that. Now, how can you improve the question answering performance? That is one basic question which everyone asks when they are going to associate with this. Now, the answer is you can do this thing by enabling active learning to suggest an alternatives when multiple questions have similar scores for user input. In other words, when the confidence score is not very much high and you have the other options available for that. Now, in this case, you have two different ways to do this thing. You can do the active learning implicitly or explicitly. The implicit way is the service identifies the potential alternative phrases for questions and it presents the suggestions in the Language Studio. You can periodically review and accept or reject this kind of suggestions. That is something which is an implicit way of active learning. And we have the other one, which is explicit active learning, in which the service returns multiple possible questions which matches to the user. And the user identifies the correct one from that. The client app is then going to use the API to submit a feedback items and then it's going to identify the correct answer from that. You can also have a configuration of creating synonyms for terms with the same meaning. And when you're adding synonyms to the knowledge base through the API or a Language Studio interface, it's going to be a really easy because you can just add synonyms and that will be used in this particular question answering conversation. These are some of the ways by which you can improve the question answering performance. Ultimately, the answers are based on the knowledge base and whatever things which are stored inside that. We have an exercise associated with this, which is creating a question answering solution. So let's see the demo first, and then we are going to do this lab exercise.